Hi, today I want to talk about this card right here. It's Cyberdark Inferno. This was added a few months ago as Cyberdark support. Um, what I really want to talk about is the utility of this card. So let's go over the effect. Um, Cyberdark effect monsters you control that are equipped with an equipped card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target them with card effects. You can target one Cyberdark monster you control, return it to the hand, then immediately after this effect resolves, you can normal summon one Cyberdark monster. You can only use this effect of Cyberdark Inferno once per turn. If this card is in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can add one fusion spell card from your deck to your hand. So, it has good use. So it has its normal utility, and then when it's destroyed, it has an extra little thing. So when would you want to use this? Obviously, the fact that your monsters can't be targeted while they have equipped cards is great. You want that at all times when you're playing Cyberdarks. But you also want to use its second effect sometimes. So when would you want to do that? So imagine you have one of these original support cards in your monster zone, and you've used its effect so that it hasn't been destroyed by battle. You've destroyed the equipped card that was originally attached to it instead. So it's just sitting there without an equipped card. You can use Cyberdark Inferno to bounce it back to your hand and then re-normal summon it, and then you can get back whatever equipped card you had. So that's the first use, resetting an equipped card. Another use is, imagine you have multiple of these in your hand, and you have some use for one of them. So maybe you want to attack directly, but there's monsters in the way, so you want to get this out. Or maybe there's a defense position monster just sitting there with 0 defense that you want piercing on, but you have Keel out. You can bounce back the one that you have out and then reset the one that you do want. So you can switch out one of these monsters for the one that you need in that certain situation. So that's the second reason why you would use this effect. The third reason is you want a different battle effect. So when you're battling, these two cards are the new monster support for Cyberdarks, and they each have effects that occur when you battle a monster while it's equipped. So this one you can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard, and Cyberdark Claw you can send one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. So if you already have the cards that you need in your graveyard, but you need a target for Cyber Darkness Dragon or just Cyberdark Dragon, and you need a target in your graveyard, you can switch out, you can bounce back a card, one of the original support cards that has Cyberdark Cannon equipped, and then you can re-normal summon it, but instead of grabbing Cannon from your graveyard and equipping it, you can grab Claw. And if you're doing this during your main phase 1, you can then go into your battle phase and proc this effect and send something to the graveyard. So that's reason number 3 to use Cyberdark Inferno. And then the last one is you can bounce back a card, but you don't have to re-normal summon it. So imagine you have 2 of these original support cards in your monster zones. They each have equipped monsters. You've used Future Fusion to send 5 Cyberdark Dragons monsters to your graveyard with the intent to summon Cyber Darkness Dragon, but your opponent has destroyed it. So you have monsters in your graveyard, but nothing's going to be summoned from that. But then you draw Overlord Fusion. So this, you can use your field or your graveyard, but if you use one of the ones in your field, if you just use the ones in your graveyard, and you have exactly 5 of the Cyberdark monsters in your graveyard, you won't have a target for equipping to Cyberdarkness Dragon. So your goal is to get one of the monsters, bounce it back to your hand. Its equip card goes to the graveyard, so now you have 6 monsters in your graveyard. So you can use Overload Fusion, summon this, and then use the last monster as an equip monster. But if you were just to use the one on your field, you'd have an extra monster in your graveyard, and that would kind of be a waste, depending on which one it was. So that's all 4 uses of Cyberdark Inferno. I'll try and show a replay here of the deck in action. So let's watch this one. So I use Ash Blossom on his effects. I'm using Cyberdark Claw. I'm sending a Naturia Beast to the graveyard. Psalm striking his monster effects. But Cyberdark Inferno still goes to the graveyard, and then I get a Future Fusion off of that for free. So I had sent 2 of these Naturia Beasts to the graveyard using Cyberdark Claw's effect. So now I can use Brilliant Fusion, or Miracle Synchro Fusion, to remove those from play, and then summon this monster, which uses 2 Synchro monsters. So now I have a negate, and yeah. So I'm going to debarry him so he can't Synchro. I'm using Future Fusion to send monsters to the graveyard. Now I can summon this using that. So if he had destroyed one of these instead, I wouldn't have had a extra deck monster slot to summon Cyberdarkness Dragon, so this was a mistake on his part. He should have attacked one of these. Now, I equipped 5-headed dragon, which I had sent to the graveyard using Cyberdark Claw, to my Cyberdarkness Dragon, so he gains an additional 5,000 attack, and yeah, it's game from here. So I hope you've enjoyed watching. Hope you've learned something about Cyberdark Inferno. It's a really good card. I'm not sure about playing 3 though. Sometimes they brick or you get 2. They're easily searched out with Cyberdark Cannon, or rather Cyberdark Claw. You can discard to search out this card, or the original Cyberdark Impact spell card. So you might want to go 2, maybe 2 in a terraforming, maybe if you're playing another field spell with some other archetype in here, that might be warranted. But thanks.